Hi everyone, welcome to CamEnglish.com. This is Teacher Reese and I am going to be your teacher in learning and discovering new words using the book CNN Reading Solution Intermediate. So are you ready to expand your vocabulary skills, comprehension skills, improve your pronunciation skills as well as your speaking skills? Alright, so let's start. So for today, we are just going to continue our reading and zoom in. Alright, so the title of our zoom in for today is Chaos in Iraq. Okay, so do you know what chaos is? When something is in chaos, it means it's in a complete disorder and confusion. Okay, so there is a complete disorder and confusion in Iraq. So I will be reading each of the paragraph and you just have to listen very carefully on how I read them. And after I do that, you're also going to read the paragraph. So are you ready now? Great, so let's start. In March of 2003, a coalition of nations led by the United States and the United Kingdom sent troops to Iraq, despite the protest of the United Nations. The purpose of the war was to remove Saddam Hussein from power and to address the purported threat of weapons of mass destruction. Okay, so I will be reading it again. So listen very carefully, students. In March of 2003, a coalition of nations led by the United States and the United Kingdom sent troops to Iraq, despite the protest of the United Nations. The purpose of the war was to remove Saddam Hussein from power and address the purported threat of weapons of mass destruction. Okay, very good. So let us study some of the words in here. So do you know what a coalition is? So when you say coalition, it's an alliance for combined action, especially a temporary alliance of political parties forming a government or of states. Okay. Again, will you kindly read the word? Very good. Next, what do we mean by this word? Will you kindly read it? Very good. So that is protest. So what do you mean by this word? Okay, so when you say protest, it's like a statement or an action expressing disapproval of or objection to something. Okay. Okay, and what about this word? Can you kindly read this? Very good. So that is purported. So do you know what purported is? Okay, so when you say purported or purport, it means appear or claim to be or do something, especially falsely, or it is also known as profess. Okay? Very well. So what about this word? Can you kindly read this one? Very good. So that is destruction. So do you know what destruction is? Okay, very well. So it's the action or process of causing so much damage to something that it no longer exists or cannot be repaired. Alright, very well. So now it's your turn to read the paragraph. Mm-hmm. Very good. So you did well in reading it. Now let's have the last paragraph. After the end of major combat operations was declared in May of 2003, a new Iraqi government was formed. The Allied armies, however, continued to occupy Iraq, and the war dragged on, in the form of an insurgency. Exactly who makes up the resistance isn't clear, although it would appear to include both foreign fighters and members of Iraq's Sunni Muslim minority. One clear goal of the insurgency is to drive the American and British troops out, but many of the attacks have been against other Iraqis. Many fear that civil war is looming, that it could lead to the division of Iraq between the Sunnis and Shiites and the Kurds. Okay, I will be reading this once again. After the end of major combat operations was declared in May of 2003, a new Iraqi government was formed. The Allied armies, however, continued to occupy Iraq, and the war dragged on in the form of an insurgency. Exactly who makes up the resistance isn't clear, although it would appear to include both foreign fighters and members of Iraq's Sunni Muslim minority. One clear goal of the insurgency is to drive the American and British troops out, but many of the attacks have been against other Iraqis. Many fear that civil war is looming, that it could lead to the division of Iraq between the Sunnis, the Shiites, and the Kurds. Alright, so let's study some of the words in here. Okay, so what do you think is this word? Can you kindly read it? Very good. So again, insurgency. Alright, so do you know what insurgency is? Mm-hmm. So when you say insurgency, it means rising in active revolt. Okay. What about this word? Okay, can you kindly read this one? Okay, very good. So, again, resistance. So, do you know what resistance is? Alright, so when you say the word resistance, it's like the refusal to accept or comply with something. It's like the attempt to prevent something by action or argument. Okay? Next, let's have this word. Can you kindly read this one? Okay, very well. So that is looming. Again. So do you know what looming is? Alright, when you say looming, it appears as a shadowy form, especially one that is large or threatening. Okay, very well. So now it's your turn to read the paragraph. Very well. Great. Very well. Alright, good job. Keep it up. Alright, great job, guys. You did well in reading. this paragraph. Okay, so anyway, let's have a short review again to the following words we learned today. So again, can you kindly read this? Very good. Again, coalition. What about this? Protest. Again. Good. Next, purported. Again. Very good. What about this? Again, destruction. Very good. This one, insurgency. Very good. What about this one? Resistance. Again. Very well. And lastly, looming. Again, looming. Very good. So I hope you learned a lot today, guys. I will see you again on my next video. Have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.